your girl HeyParis here, and today I am bringing you something a little bit different here on my channel. I have promised you guys a how to get a job at Sephora video for the past, I want to say 2 years. I'm dead serious, okay? And I want to apologize for that. And people keep reminding me, like, I have to do this video, you need to do this video, like you've been promising us. So I decided to do this video, but in parts. So this part of this how to get a job at Sephora video is strictly the interview questions that you will be asked. And later on in the week, I will upload a video on how to actually apply and get the job at Sephora. This is strictly the interview process. So when you get through the resume and all that, this is the next step. I'm gonna give you guys all the interview questions that I remember from working at Sephora and all the answers that will most likely get you into Sephora and actually working with the company. And this is just a disclaimer that the questions that I'm about to give you are the questions that I remember from my Sephora locations, different countries, different states, different provinces may have different questions. I'm not sure. I could only give you what was asked to me when I was in my interview with my manager at my store location, okay guys? I'm also gonna give you answers that I know whoever's interviewing you will love. As awkward and weird and different as I may seem, I think I'm actually excellent at job interviews, other than that one time I had that coffee, if y'all guys remember that story. But other than that, I would say I'm pretty good at interviews. I think I'm super nervous before I go into interviews, and that's totally fine. That's totally okay. It's totally normal for you to be nervous when you're going to an interview, but once you sit down and you just breathe a little, you'll feel better. So if you're watching this because you have an interview with Sephora tomorrow, next week, whatever, just breathe, just relax, and speak it into existence. I'm getting this job at Sephora. That's what I did, okay? I was talking to myself in the mirror like, yes girl, you're gonna get this job, you gonna get this money, you gonna get this position, you gonna get it. Speak everything you want into existence, okay guys? When you're doing these interviews, you don't want to give one-word answers. You don't want to ever say yes. This is more of any interview, not even just Sephora, okay? Just in general. You don't want to ever just say yes, no, none of that. You want to try to drag the sentence along for a good amount of time. You don't want to talk too much and you don't want to talk too little. Some quick pointers on interviews before I start with these questions are: keep eye contact with whoever is speaking to you. It's most likely going to be a group interview. If it is a just you and the person interview, you probably already got the job, girl. Let me just tell you that from now, because that is a straight indication that they saw you, they liked how you looked, and they want to give you the job. So that's just a little tip right there. But if it's a group interview, keep your eye on the person speaking at all times. So if the manager is speaking, keep your eye on them. If another candidate is speaking, you look at them, shake your head, nod when you agree with things, smile, don't look too serious. So you just want to sit down and just, you know, you gotta be fake sometimes. Another tip I want to give you guys is make sure and listen to me well, okay? I am one of those girls who do not eat breakfast, okay? Before you go to the interview, it's most likely going to be in the morning time. It might be in the afternoon, lunchtime, whatever. But if it's in the morning time, actually doesn't matter what time it is, eat. You need to eat. And the reason why you need to eat, because I don't want you guys to be in the position I was in when I had my Sephora interview, okay? My belly was grumbling. It was grumbling, okay? I had to excuse myself and say sorry a million times. I really thought that my belly caused me the job. Like, my belly, when I'm hungry, is so loud. So you guys, please eat. Please eat before you go to any job interview. Do it. You don't want to be in the position I was in. I was so embarrassed. So eat before you go to your job interview. And the other tips that I have for you guys will be in the how to get a job at Sephora video, because I'm basically going to tell you guys what you should wear, how you should do your makeup that day, how to hand in your resume, who to ask for to hand in your, like, I'm gonna break everything down for you guys in that video. But let's just stick to the interview section for right now, okay? So the first question that I remember at Sephora, and the one that is very vivid to me, and I've actually, when I was applying for a job at Sephora, I remember watching YouTube videos on Sephora interviews and Sephora interview questions and stuff like that. And I remember someone saying this, and it actually popped up in my interview questions. So this is probably a worldwide question that Sephora asks you. And it's basically something along the lines of, if you owned your own store and a customer bought a perfume, and as they left, the perfume dropped and broke, and they came back telling you it broke, what would you do for the customer? I'm gonna tell you what not to say. Do not say that you would tell them that you have a strict refund or exchange policy and you cannot do anything for them, obviously. And don't say what I said. I said I would give them 50% off. Don't say that, guys. Don't say that. The correct answer is that you would just give them a refund. Accidents happen, you want to make the customer happy, and anything you can do to make that customer happy, you will do. So no matter what, just say something along the lines of, if that happened in my store, I would gladly exchange the perfume for the customer to make sure that they leave with a very good experience at my store, so that they would want to come back and shop with me again, knowing that their business is important to me and that my store has their best interest at heart. Something along those lines. Spice it up a little, talk a little bit. The second question I remember is a question that I actually think that a lot of interviews ask you, regardless of where you're applying for, because I think I've gotten this question in every single interview I've ever done in my life, okay? And the question is, tell me a time you went above and beyond for a customer. And you know, sometimes in interviews, you gotta lie a little bit, okay? So I remember the first time I got this question, I've used the same lie, the same answer lie for every single interview I've been in, and that is that I used to work at the Bay. If you guys didn't know, if you're from Canada, the Bay is like Macy's in America. It's just like a big department store. Anyways, so I basically said that, wait, let me say it as if I'm answering the question so it's better for you guys to like take notes or whatever. A time that I've went above and beyond for a customer was when I used to work at the Bay. When I worked at the Bay, I was leaving, my shift was over, and there was a lady who was asking me to help her find a shoe size. Although it wasn't my department, there was no one there to help her, and I was already clocked out, but knowing that I could easily find someone to help her get the shoe by going to another department, I did that. When I did that, a sales associate came out and was able to help her, and she thanked me. It's just that simple. Say something like that. Say that you were going on your break and somebody asked you a question, and instead of walking off, you answered the question or assisted them for a few minutes while you're already clocked out. Like something that makes you seem like a very sincere person, okay? Even if you're not. We just trying to cop this job real quick, you know what I'm saying? So just get those little tiny white lies that you need to remember. Keep them in your mind so that just in case like questions like this happen, keep those little fake scenarios in the back of your head so that you can project that during your interview, okay? Another question that is asked in almost every interview, including Sephora, is why do you want to work here? Now, when we were asked this question in Sephora, the manager who was doing the interview actually said, I do not want to hear anyone saying that because makeup is their passion. So I'm guessing that is one of the things that Sephora workers hear a lot, or Sephora managers hear a lot. So you want to think outside of the box and say something that other people won't say in the group, or listen to what other people say in the group and try to say something different, because it's really hard when you're in a group interview and people go before you and then it just sounds like you're copying everyone's answer. You have to take notes of what they said and try to switch it around. If you agree with what they said, try to switch it around and don't try to copy or repeat anything that anyone else has said. If you're first in the group, you're lucky, okay? But I was actually last in the group, and what I did was listen to everyone, what they said, and made sure I say something completely different. But I'm a fast thinker as well, so you know, it might be different for people. I just remember saying, I'm a loyal customer to Sephora and I love the environment and I love the way that the associates treat me as a customer, and I'd love to grow and learn with these people in this environment that I am so used to and that I am so proud of as a customer. Something along those lines just sound very, you know, something like, let's just get it together, let's figure it out, you know? And don't say anything like, my cousin used to work at Sephora and she said it's a good place to work. We don't want to hear that. As managers, they don't want to hear that. Don't say anything like, I love makeup and I love doing makeup and this is a perfect place to, don't, you know what I mean? Just try to be different. Try to say something that no one else has, try to say something that this manager has never heard before. That was always my goal whenever I'm doing any type of interview. Another question I remember very vividly is, you are a cashier. The phone is ringing. A customer is at the counter waiting to be cashed out and you get called for your break. What do you do first and why? So remember, the customer always comes first. So the first thing you would say is basically you pick up the phone and say, Sephora, whatever location, hold please, put the person on hold, cash the customer out, pick up the phone again, answer whatever the customer on the phone needs, and then you would go on your break. Obviously, I think that everyone would, you know, do that. So another generic question that Sephora asks you is, what are your strengths? And this is going to be a different answer for everyone, because some people may be applying for cashier, some people may be applying for skincare, some people applying for fragrances, someone may be applying for color, which is makeup. So if you're a makeup artist, you just tell them your skills. You're really good at winged liner. You know, you have private clients who come to you on a daily basis, and your work is whatever. Like, what you can even bring up your Instagram followers. I have 15,000 Instagram followers and they love my work, and I'm whatever. You can say whatever you want. Just, this is the time where you're allowed to brag about yourself without being judged, okay? If you're a cashier, just speak about your customer service skills. If you are talking about skincare, just speak about how much you love skincare and how knowledgeable you are on certain products and the steps that it takes to get the perfect skincare regimen. Or if you're talking about fragrance, just talk about your past experiences, your own personal fragrance collection, whatever, okay? So that's different for each individual. And then the question after that is gonna be, what are your weaknesses? Now, when we're talking about weaknesses, we need to still be able to brag about ourselves. So we're not gonna be like, I'm always late. Don't ever say that in a job interview. Don't say, I'm always late, that's my weaknesses, or I can't count properly, that's my, no. You're gonna say something along the lines of, I'll give you guys what I always say whenever that question comes up. My weaknesses are that I don't like to stop working. So even after my shift is done, if I see there are things that need to be done, I'm the type of person who will stay back and want to make sure that everything is perfect before leaving at the end of the night. You see how that sounds good? You see that? Now all of y'all gonna steal my answers. All of y'all gonna steal my answers. It's okay though. Use that. Honestly, just be like, my weakness? I work too hard. That's my weakness. What's next? Next question. Right there, you already got the job, girl. Congratulations. Another question I remember being asked is, name some brands that we carry here in Sephora. If you shop at Sephora, you know all the brands: Urban Decay, Too Faced. If you want to really impress them, say Atelier. Say Atelier, okay? Atelier is a fragrance in Sephora that is only for Sephora and strictly at Sephora. And when you are in fragrance, they push that brand like no other. So if you say Atelier, they are going to be super, super, super impressed. You know what? If I think about it, try to name all of the Sephora only brands. So you can even say Sephora brand makeup. You could say, there's just a lot of brands, but make sure you say Atelier. I wish I said that in my interview just to sound like I'm real cool or whatever. But Too Faced, Urban Decay, NARS, Anastasia Beverly Hills, Atelier. Let's go into skincare now. Ulla Hendrickson, Origins, Fresh. Like, go on the Sephora website, study it, and say as many as you possibly can. Look like a show off. It's a good thing to be a show off in Sephora, okay, during the interview process, because if you a show off during the job hours, you ain't gonna make no friends. And the last question I remember is, how will you be an asset to Sephora? Again, brag. I'm good at really dramatic makeup looks, and I feel like clients looking for that will really appreciate my artistry. Something, just say whatever you got to say, okay? And now I'm gonna read these questions back to you guys. For those of you who are really watching this because you have a Sephora interview. Oh, before I even continue, let me just say, these are not all the questions that are gonna be asked. These are the ones that I remember most vividly in my mind, okay? So now is the part where I'm going to say the questions back to you guys, and you guys can pause it and just practice. Say what you need to say from hearing what I said earlier in the video, and just practice that so that when you go to your interview, you're on track and you know what you're about to say and what you're doing, okay? All right, so let's pretend like I'm the Sephora manager. All right, guys, so I'm just gonna be asking you all questions one by one, starting with you. So the first question is, if you owned your own store and someone bought a perfume and the perfume broke before they left the store, how would you handle the situation? This is where you pause the video and answer and practice. Okay, great, great, great. Now tell me a time when you've went above and beyond for a customer. Okay, interesting, interesting. And why do you want to work here? So if you were the only cashier in the store and the phone was ringing, a customer was waiting to be cashed out, and you just got called on your break, what would you do first and why? Okay, all right. So what are your strengths? All right, okay. And what are your weaknesses? Could you name some brands at Sephora for me, please? Yeah. And how will you be an asset to Sephora? Okay. And if you didn't pause that and you was just watching me, that was mad weird. Anyways, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below or DM me on Instagram. I think I answer faster on Instagram. I barely read my messages on, my comments on YouTube, but sometimes my manager will send me certain, like comments that need to be answered. So if you want to get a hold of me fast, Twitter and Instagram are the easiest ways. If you have a job interview at Sephora and you want to ask any questions, behind the scene questions, anything like that, I'll be more than happy to answer. Okay, and my Instagram is at HeyParis, just like my YouTube channel, and my Twitter is at HeyParis with 2 S's. So, yeah. Follow me on Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram, all that jazz in the description box down below for your convenience. Stay tuned for the how to get a job at Sephora video. That one is going to have all the details on how to actually apply, what should be on your resume, who to speak to. Like, I'm going to give you all the details, everything, okay? Thank you guys so much for your time. I love you guys so much. So I gotta tell you twice with my broken fingernail. And how do I say that? Love you guys. And I'll see you on the flip side. Bye, guys. And good luck on your interview. You're gonna get the job, girl.